Welcome to another episode of AI Ranch, where we discuss all things AI and business. Today with me, I have a special guest, Aldis Ērglis, who is the country manager and chairman of the Emerging Latvia, which is one of the largest, most influential IT companies around here. He has the experience in 20 years of software and leadership, and he right now manages a team of 350 people with the largest emerging global office in the world. He's also award of Microsoft MVP in data platform for 6 consecutive years, and runs one of the largest Baltics Tesh communities. So with 100 events, 2,500 members. And in this episode, we'll discuss some of his exciting projects and leadership lessons. So let's get into it. Welcome.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Just a few days ago, the State Audit Service released the report that the government institutions, only 17% actively have AI automations, and 55%, more than half, even don't have a plan for that. So do you have similar experience? Any feedback on that?
Actually, I hardly believe these numbers because I know that there at least 80% of people, or even more in public sector, they are using some ChatGPT or some LLMs for sure. So here we need to probably discuss the definitions and the concept of individual productivity with AI or ML and organizational level productivity. So if they try to fix or count the organization level productivity, that probably the numbers are lower. But if the individual productivity with AI also counts in, then its number is much higher.
How you split the organizational automation and individual? Is there a clear separation between those?
Yeah, there's clear distinguishment because when you do something for yourself on individual level using some individual tools, for example, you generate contract, or before that you needed, hour for that, 10 hours for that. Now you could do it maybe in half hour, even faster. Or before that, to generate or to create image, you needed maybe 2 hours. Now you could do it in a minute. So when you do your own task, actually it's an individual productivity.
But wouldn't you be able to mandate this or basically educate so that this becomes organizational productivity, in the sense that if I have a daily work with documents, and then the leadership teaches how to use these tools and makes it as a part of their organizational system?
For me, it becomes organizational level productivity, which actually, when it's implemented, embedded into process or system, it means that this individual knowledge somehow converted from tacit to explicit. It means if you build this process, if you build this AI into document management system, and it's generating these documents for every case or every employee, then it's organizational level. But while I, with my own knowledge and desires, I'm generating it with my tools, let's say, or even tools provided by the organization, it's still individual level. And in this sense, I think what I saw in the public sector, that overall understanding it that with AI, we could automate or rationalize the whole process. But actually what we just can do is one task. So this is a interesting moment when we're talking about any use of AI. People are thinking that we could optimize
do everything.
Do everything, processes, whole organization. But actually, what's possible is automate or do something with one task on the task level. So task level, process level, same individual level, organizational level.
So, but you say at this moment, even with Gen AI, even with large language models, even with all of these multimodal models, we are still at the task level, right?
Yeah, so that's I believe in that AI as also as a human is quite specialized, and if you want really get a very good result, you need to focus on the task. You still could look at the process and look at the different tasks in inside the process and say, okay, this one we could, let's say, optimize or automate, this one partially, this not yet, but let's keep our eye on it. So, and then thinking about, of course, you need to think about end-to-end process, but automation should happen on the task level. And the main reason for that is actually there is another technique, process mining, that is because
what's
of AI hype. It's forgotten a little bit, let's say, but it actually shows how the processes working really. And if you look at any process from the log files, you will see that in the processes usually there are too much exceptions, and how to handle each of these exception. And for example, from automation perspective, if you have a volume of repetitive tasks, automation working very well, and you will get an economic benefit from it.
Oh yeah, we were going to the that direction. I think that's valuable. Like if this is the situation on organizational level, which I believe should be similar to what they found, that 55% don't have either plan or not yet implemented anything. What kind of methods or methodologies or strategies should be applied so that actually it achieves meaningful automation?
I think the method is an old one. Let's say you need to take a list of your products and services and just look volumes of these services and start with most, let's say, the biggest service, because there is the biggest potential.
Highest volume.
Yeah, highest volume. So start with that. If it's not qualifying, look to next and next. But that definitely one of the prerequisites is a high volume of some repetitive activity. That with the highest potential.
But it seems so logical. Have you seen other ways how this goes wrong?
Yes, it's easy because usually the strategy is not looking at the processes, products, or services, but some quick wins, or I call tricks.
Okay.
So you know that AI could do serious stuff and also show tricks.
Okay.
I would say that just generating images for fun, it's a trick. And the AI is a trick master.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get into this trap and showing tricks and saying this is something very cool. Let's have it just a little bit more, and it will replace all our organization.
So one misconception that you mentioned is that organization leaders usually think that AI could automate the whole process easily. Then you highlight that the process's volume is important. Is there any other misconceptions or that you have seen working with these organizations where they expect something that is not yet here or depends on other variables?
Yeah, so when you're saying that leaders expect that organizations will deal with that, and probably that is also the, how to say correctly, a mistake, because we can see that leaders, or let's say top managers, they rely on organization itself and say, okay, have AI, have fun with that, optimize, do something. But actually they need AI and different, and even automation and process mining technologies. They are changing the way how people are working. So it means that leaders must be hands on.
Yeah.
They need to be in and see what organizational changes will happen. Because probably the biggest obstacle in automation and use of AI is the user, because what you want to do really, you want to algorithmize knowledge, extract the knowledge from her head, put algorithmize, and share with everyone. And normally the employee don't want to share knowledge. It's not natural, because if you share all your knowledge, you are easy to replace,
Yeah.
right?
That's one. But the other one which you touched, I think I have seen many times is you have, let's say, strategy from above, implement some AI, and then there is no hands-on, and nobody changes the process. They add it like just like an add-on, and then at the end there is no results, because it is the automation is not like. Just another word processing software or something. It needs to be integrated into some kind of activities, processes, right?
Yeah, and I remember it well. So in the beginnings of the 2000s, we replaced a lot of manual processes with systems, and we replaced it as is, like without any transformation and changes. And then we understood that it's not a very efficient way. Actually, we need to do a transformation, implementing new technologies. In 2005, starting 2005, it was a document management era, and we did the same mistake. We replaced the existing paper-driven document process with just one-to-one electronic, and understood that it's not efficient way.
You
So
give example of that. I was always wondering where this term digital transformation came from. Now you try to enlighten us. But how this happened? You had the piles of documents. Now you have
not piles of documents, but the biggest mistakes is about this approval and signature process. So that you need to do some signatures in a sequence, and in digital process, maybe you don't need them. So it's enough to have like checkboxes, or even not checkboxes at all. Then there's some circulation or scanning, or adding metadata, etc.
So if you did
different
not
stuff.
think it through, you added this digital system, but the time it took to process was the same. Basically, it was
And because you in digital environment, you could do it much faster. So you don't need so complicated process. You don't need these time lags for circulation of the document, and also other things change.
fascinating. It's now 2025, and we still have this
We
problem.
do same thing with AI now.
Yeah. So then let's go into some specifics. One of the most famous products of Emergent is related to the state revenue service, where you have this taxpayer rating system, which every commercial entity see when they log into the system. I have seen it myself. Every legal entity looks that they are not in the red zone. If they are in the red zone, they know that there will be problems. The system, what it is, how it works, can you explain?
I think it's one of the systems that SRS could be proud of it, and really could market it more, saying that I think it's a good example of digital transformation and digital era, when the enterprises are not asking SRS, give me rating for this or for some reason, for loans or whatever, but you could get it automatically, instantly. And technically, it's built on top of rule engine. It means that there are many rules created by experts, SRS experts. So if the company size is this, if it's located there, if there's an amount of taxes are such and such, then this final rating is calculated. And it's kind of explainable machine learning, let's say, and that is a standard for government institutions right now in Europe. And we had the meetings with other revenue services in the European Union, and they said that they also using rule engines. They are looking for some more advanced, sophisticated models, but until they are not fully explainable, they need to use rule engines.
Okay, so let's touch on explainable as well. But before that, how accurate it is.
So I would say it's 100% accurate because of rules. So it's at least
You
explain.
never had any problems where
Of
somebody fell
course,
through?
there could be some mistakes in maybe rules and etc. But you always could transparently see, check it, and correct. And
Is
there is
it
a testing system.
continuously adapting? Yeah?
Yes, yes, it's of course continuously used, and maybe the biggest cases are when you have a good rating,
Yeah.
you are not asking questions, and usually
So you
enterprises are
don't know.
saying it's very good, it's working very well. But if you have a bad rating that they are claiming and saying it can't be, why it's there's some should be some error, etc.
It's biased towards having complaints from those who have a bad rating, and maybe you don't know somebody on the good side. Maybe there is also some holes there.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that they would not report.
But I think it's from the technology point of view, it's very important, as I mentioned it before, and it's I think it's a really important thing to like have in mind is this algorithmized knowledge. Yeah, how to transfer your knowledge about something into algorithm, because algorithm could be shared and scaled. So it's some kind of scalable knowledge inside the organization.
There is something that I'm wondering. So I also seen this gauge. There is a gauge like from red to green in the website, but I always wondered how it works basically. So if you would give all of the details to everyone, then everybody they could hack this. But at the same time, you should give some details for people to know how to improve their rating, right? How that works.
Yeah. That I think it is quite transparent. You can see all these categories where it's
But they give
measured.
all of the rules.
Not the rules, explicit rules, but you could quite easy calculate how.
Reverse engineer.
But it's not so. It's not really engineering. If you will pay taxes better and timely, you will get more better ratings. So if you think it's engineering, then yes. But that's also we had a conversation with general manager SRS, and I think they have, from the vision perspective, they have this clear vision about that. Their role of SRS is to implement, let's say, system or provide their environment where citizens and entrepreneurs will understand and will willingly comply with the
regulations, rules.
Regulations and rules. So it should be like natural. And in Sweden, I remember I had a project in Sweden with Swedish colleagues. The taxes are actually published in the newspaper of the city, and they are proud of and the most honorable people who are paying the most taxes, right, in Sweden. And so it's of course also a culture question.
Then regarding explainable system, you mentioned rule-based, and you also mentioned machine learning. So how that goes together, because machine learning, as I understand, there is any kind of method which you feed data. It helps to structure it, or in some way use structured data to extract these layers of patterns. But then how it goes together? Where is that machine learning element there?
Yeah, as you know, in machine learning, we have simpler algorithms like linear regression is fully explainable. Yeah, and more sophisticated methods like neural networks or deep neural networks. And their explanation, we have some level of explanation, but until it's not fully explainable, as revenue service and other institutions explain to us, that it can't be used really for tasks like automatic decision making, because in rating system it's kind of automated decision making system. There's no one is not verifying, like say, final grades. There's a rules, they are checked, they are tested, and it generates according rules this grade. So it's automatic decision making, and for that you need fully explainable method. And
No, so but it's not then machine learning, right?
It depends on how on definition, of course. If you look in AI Act, European AI Act, graphs are AI.
Yeah, AI, but not machine learning. But then you touched the right point. So nowadays, this becomes even more kind of actual topic of being able to explain also deep learning models, language models, image models. Like nowadays, if I have an image classifier where I have all this, and there is a like the ways of flower or plant, and if all of the pictures all this always with the plant, then AI will probably learn that all this is plant because it is easier to recognize than all sorts of clothing and so on, and we would be able to detect this in the data. And similar way, if I have chain of emails or some kind of report, I can ask also language models to try to explain some of these things. So what do you think, like how close we are of being able to use systems like these in a decision-making process?
Yeah, so following the explainable AI and ML development, it's already for years, developed for years. So I'm expecting that it should, let's say, come soon, very soon. Couple of years, we should have a next wave of explainability and start explain more complicated
Yeah,
algorithms and
based on data and patterns, right? Where like it I think it's kind of similar in the case of if I have a business analytic and I would ask him to explain the situation, he would probably not give me like a decision tree with all of this fine details. He would just give me one paragraph with the key facts, right?
yeah, so it's definitely becoming better, and when you combine human with algorithm, it works already very well. But if you want to really run it autonomously, so then you need to also this explanation part, especially in public sector. In private sector, maybe it's a little
Yeah.
bit easier.
Yeah, the private sector, they have their own competition, and they might be more open to unexplainable things in order to make money.
Yeah, actually, that's also maybe a big topic of using AI and potential, because one of the probably from the competitive advantage point of view, if everyone is using same tools, that there is no competitive advantage, and how to find this competitive advantage, that will be a question.
Yeah, that's true. So let's go then to the exciting topic of machine learning lab with all sorts of interesting AI projects. You mentioned also off camera that there is connection with SAP, right? With this huge company. Can you explain a little bit of what it is, what it does, this lab?
Yeah, so we already 6 years ago, we decided that we need to build some internal competence around machine learning that time, not AI. Interesting off topic about this definitions. So a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with Gartner and asked it, okay, you're saying AI, but where is ML? Where are all this stuff? And they say, look, there is AI, which is LLMs, and there is everything else called traditional AI.
Oh, that's a new term. I never heard that.
So AI and traditional, and we understood that we need to invest in traditional AI. So understanding, because we very early with some clients and find out that this ML is R&D intensive. So you need to do a little bit research, a little bit experimentation, and so it's a different process. It's not just development. And we established the lab, about 10 people. We had 10 people. In the best times, we were at some 20, something like that, quite big. And we started to do some work for clients, and also in parallel some experimentations, like a little bit computer vision, a little bit languages, and etc. And then we found we worked with SAP for a long time for building some tools for them, some products for them. There is a personas inside all the SAPs where you could customize the screen, so that we are still building it. And we agreed with SAP in Waldorf that we will do a co-innovation together. So, and we did some researches, how to build anticipatory design, so how to improve interfaces, make systems smarter, using different tools, for example, eye tracker, or there's a tool, brain activity monitoring system from Emotive. So I still have videos when I put it on my hand, start thinking, and you see the visualization. So it's proof that I have brains.
So, but this was for SAP software, right? And they gave you some projects to work on, or you decided your own?
So they asked us to work on something. So, and we started analyzing, like, predicting next best task to do. So the SAP big dream on that time was that, imagine that SAP, you put all the information in SAP, you open SAP, and there is a window saying, this is the most valuable task to do today, or tasks.
Sounds great. Did it work? How hard did you get?
Yeah, so we built a couple of prototypes, and we found an interesting thing that if you can do the task similarity analysis, so you could find that there is a task and you could find similar tasks in your organization, you could create a lot of additional statistics and metadata, like average time of task completion, who else could help with you with this task, who did it last time, etc., etc. And all this information, even more valuable, is for managers, because they could see where the knowledge lacking, where is the lack of knowledge. Because if there is someone who could do it in an hour and others are doing in 5 hours, it means there's some you need to inspect why it's possible to do it like 5 times faster.
Sounds really doable with well, nowadays with modern like semantic embeddings and the large language models. So this was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
And like, are you still going in that direction? Where we are at this?
For some year or two now, it's on the shelf. Waiting for the next, let's say, wave of energy and usage, but we keeping eye on it, like because the really that what was missed with a high accuracy that time 2-3 years ago, it was this similarity analysis, which with language models we believe could be much better.
Yes, but of course there is a trade-off of expenses, because the more like iterations you want to do and all sorts of smarter thinking models use, it costs more, and then you try to balance off with these semantic meaning and so on. But this is really doable, I think, and I like what you say. I have been thinking about that myself many times. Like, I need to evaluate how much will the task take the sprint volumes, the amount of work for specific people, like to make a better estimates. All of this like sounds really great. I believe that if somebody looking at this, you will take it out of the shelf soon, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that is a great example. I also read that you use all sorts of Microsoft tools, and you also have this GitHub Copilot project where you use it for the developers on one team and compare it with those who don't use it, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, so we are looking how, of course, we understand that, and it's for a while. So generally, in industry, the assumption is that using LLMs for developers, you can increase productivity.
Yeah, that is assumption.
15-20%. There's some number, so that is what you can hear in podcasts and blogs, this 20%, the highest. highest level. But for example, Google published some numbers. They published 13%, something 13.
Right.
Like, so, and before that, also 8%. Of course, we need to be careful with this percentage, but again, it's you need to do it because there's first of all there's a competition pressure, and there are some companies who are saying we are using AI, so that is why we're so productive. Interesting finding out of it that it is very, as we discussed before, very task specific. So there could be a productivity for one task, maybe 100%. So because you could do it.
What tasks are great for GitHub Copilot?
SQL generation, old code inspection, porting, yeah, and so we even thinking that there should be a really good business by porting old legacy systems to new versions of something using AI. So that is a bigger business opportunity, and there are many other tasks where you could actually test cases, for example, test coverage.
Yeah, test coverage.
Yeah.
What kind of tasks you see that are challenging?
Some new functionality generation. We testing out, for example, prototyping from the requirements, which is, imagine you have a requirements document, you put it somewhere in AI and it generates working prototype, and then you talking with the client and on the fly changing requirements, and client can see how it will look in the system. So it working not so smoothly as expected.
Have you ever tried these AI agent web systems like Lovable, the Swedish one, which have a huge revenue and growth, where you just type in, as you say, specification of some web system and it generates these things for you on the fly, and then you say, okay, move the button there. Have you seen of that? What do you think of that?
Yeah, we are testing Versal.
Right, Versal. Yes, that's
Versal,
alternative.
So yeah, that's not working so smoothly as expected. So it works like it generates first version, then you ask something, then there's some errors, some misunderstanding. So it's like one thing we understood clearly that when you use, even in case of coding where it's really proved right that it's efficient, you still could have using AI with plus sign, but also there is a minus sign. So it's not just you will use and just will gain a little bit or more. You could lose. How it works, so you generate some code and you say, for example, for test coverage, you generate code, look at it, you say, no, please add this. Something changes, okay, please add this. And for example, there are cases when you say, tests are not passed, so not going through, please fix them. And then you look how it's fixed, and sometimes it just put a false or true in the test case.
Call the test.
Yes, not fixing.
No, test is not passing, please fix this, so let's not call the test.
Not do it. And then you spend more time actually with AI than you would do it yourself. So we call it with a minus sign. So actually it's negative, right? If you're using AI, it's like could be a negative outcome, and it's for many tasks.
Don't you think that it also depends on the advancements? Basically, if the model, as we already see, every year, every few months gets better, it will make less and less these minus mistakes, I believe so.
We found another thing. So imagine we found that actually it depends also who is using AI, because if you are expert in your field, you will gain less value from AI in your field. But if you are non-expert, if you are expert but you are trying another field, you will get a very big value. For example, when our architects are starting using coding, they can start. Actually, architects can start coding with AI, and I asked one of the architects from Oracle, who was not active, were not active coder before, but now coding with AI. I asked it about how he rates his productivity. He said 400%.
So
And
it's again like a devil in the details. Like, I mean, you're saying that this task specific, right?
task specific,
Yeah.
yeah.
So every time it's not like just one number of productivity gain of that using these tools, but in specific
Yeah,
tasks.
so it means if you're doing, imagine in translation. In translation, I think it's 203 and 400% gain. And if you do translation all the time, every day, you will be like 300% more productive. But if you do it once a week, so it will somewhere.
Yeah, and you have other tasks, and this will just be negligible improvement. I think that's valuable. We have some other projects which I found that you have done, hopefully. So I found that you also worked with Latvian court administration with some kind of anonymization project. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was super exciting and interesting in terms of technology, because we tried out machine teaching. Not machine learning, but machine teaching. I still think it's an undervalued technique, because that was, let's say, time when the big data hype start ending. Remember, before AI, there were big data hype where assumption was that if there will be enough data, then quantity will turn into quality, and again, everything solved, But there were not enough data, or big data is available only for big players. That is a limitation. And what to do with organizations in Latvia. And Microsoft just launched in their lab the concept of machine teaching, which means that there is no data scientists who take the data and train the model and give it to the users, but data scientists prepare the environment with a model and gives an user interface, training user interface for the business users, and they are training model with a small data.
Okay.
Small but very high accuracy data. And actually what they did, they provided, so very minor, I remember that we talked about 50 documents or so, that they provided the small amount of data by labeling needed data for anonymization, and the model surprisingly started working very well, like really surprisingly. And that is now, as I know, it's working. It's used in the court system, and I hear from time to time that other institutions are actually taking it from court administration and you're also using for anonymization. That version we developed, we just embedded in the container, and so it's like.
And how exactly, why they need anonymization there?
Why they need? So imagine they are publishing the court documents, and according to GDPR and everything else, they can't publish the names and some other data. So how you could identify real persons.
But from GDPR perspective, the personal data is also data, where if I connect together like dots, I can identify exactly that person.
Yeah. So it's not a pseudo-anonymization. It should be real anonymization. It means if there's something, for example, there's a person with some, I don't know, special car, and there's just one car in Latvia, so it's easy to identify. So you need also to anonymize this.
So and that system is able to recognize also details of that sort.
On quite high level, I would say, you provide these cases and it learns. So I would say it's quite successful project. We were really surprised how this machine teaching approach is working.
On the business case, how it works, like you develop this initial system, they teach themselves the system. Do you maintain it? Do you have agreement with them, or is it like on their own?
Yeah, on that time, it was like part of our research, let's say, because in things like that, you can't predict really outcome. It's also possible that there is nothing working, right? And we just took it as a let's say experiment together, co-invest or something like that, and they are not paying any maintenance right now. So model is somehow working. We didn't update it for years. It's working.
Did you deploy it somewhere else as well, or these are like just like projects for your own experience, basically?
That is how we did it. So in this case, yeah, it's just in court administration. I just hear that it's like spreading across the public sector, which is
Very
I think
interesting.
nice and good if it's working because it's still this approach. We're telling interessents about this approach, but they are like listening and saying machine teaching, machine teaching. Can we just take ChatGPT?
Yeah, now you have ChatGPT. That's a whole another another thing to explain people what's the difference.
Yeah, but this is another case, and yeah, that is my personal strong belief about this knowledge, algorithmized knowledge. And this again, the case when you as an expert should select training data, provide it, and you see also accuracy, and you are learning and provide better examples. So fine-tuning system. So you as a user, as a human, as an expert, yeah, you could build like extension of your brains, actually.
My experience recently, I managed one workshop with a financial institution, and they do these market research where they want to do some activities in new markets. And usually they would pay a consultation company about 10K to do this report for them. And they wanted to try out, could it just be done with €200 monthly GPT with the 4.5 model, unlimited with deep research. And we tried to do this, and the results were really good. We were able to compile the methodology. You start with the table, you do research, you fill table with the deep research step by step, and then do the next step. But the interesting thing was that I myself was not a financial expert. I was not able to interpret all of these metrics that we were looking at. But it was super important. There is an expert by us, right? And we received after 10 minutes this research on specific countries with specific numbers, and then this person says, okay, there is this number is probably not right because it looks like there is not only non-banking institutions but also banking institutions in that. We checked it, we filter it, we get the right numbers, we move to the next step. But if I wouldn't have that expert there, I would make wrong assumptions basically. But still, we were able to do something that cost 10K in 4 hours, but I need the expert. So
yeah. So value of expertise will just grow with using AI. But now the trend is that the less you know, the better. The better you're using AI.
The less you know, the better expert. So yeah, but this interesting how all of this plays together, because again we replaced the consultation company there. We were able to do this ourselves. So how this plays out. So of course, let's just filter out all of those dummies who think that without any knowledge you can do things. But then if you have knowledge, at least some level, and these tools, how this changed the playing field.
If we talk about consultants, I think they should develop more R&D inside and provide this as a service, because still any implementation of advanced technologies will require R&D in your organization, and we don't have any R&D, let's say almost any R&D in public sector and in small and medium companies in Latvia. Maybe there's a couple of large companies like LMT and TET and some who has some R&D.
So to stay relevant in the age of AI, where there's these powerful tools, you cannot just be a consultant. You need to have also R&D.
Yes, R&D. That is primary key to these technologies and how to apply them.
Yeah, build the integrated systems. So you also have you've done so many projects. We'll try to cover maybe just the most interesting ones. So you also have publicly stated that you managed to automate communication even by 70% for insurance company Balta. Can you give a little bit of details of that?
Yeah, another area of our interest is intelligent automation, when you have, especially when you could do some automation with low-code tools, like a Microsoft Power Platform. And we find out that if you start automating email communication, and the email is used even in mid-sized business hugely.
Yeah.
And so everything is coming by email.
Default communication.
Clients can send you anything, and someone on the other side should take care of it. And then there is a human as an integration point. So integration, most popular integrator is a human who is extract from the emails, recognize information, do labeling, and email itself. And also maybe the worst thing is that if you do the case management in email. That's probably the worst thing. It means that you track something, because the email is not structured, let's say, system.
Format.
Form. It's more like a queue. And using automation tools, you could easily grab email, recognize who sent it, maybe read the text, what's written there, extract attachments, save them in some structured way in case management system, and then humans start working with that. And we did it not just for Balta. Also, there's a client in UK, Horvitz Farley, insurance legal company. So this use case actually is very, very popular. And I think in public sector, there is also huge potential for how to handle emails. And I heard that they're trying to use LLMs for generating answers. It's
probably
very
not
successful yet, but
not only LLMs, but multiple systems. RAG.
Of course, yeah, it should be more sophisticated thing, not just LLM, of course. But the idea is the same. There is some interface, usually email, and then there's some processing.
I'm surprised how little of that has yet been deployed. Like as you might know, one of my products is also related to emails and omni-channel communication with RAG systems, which is probably not as unique as in this world, but still it has some specific use cases where we are good at it. And when I come to enterprises or government institutions, like I would say, like almost nowhere it's yet implemented, even though the people use it, as you say, in personal level, generate the applications, documents, send to the human person who then reads this and writes manually emails, right? Is that your experience as well?
Yes, and I think that's the potential of automation, but it can't be done by users themselves. So it should be somehow on organization level, and I like investigating, trying to understand the best examples, bad examples of this implementation of any kind of technology, but starting automation. And I found that that there is a concept of flywheel. You know, flywheel?
Yeah, you start spinning.
And it's
hard to stop.
Yeah, and same for automation or for AI implementation, you need to start spinning the flywheel. But first is to implement some first projects. But the second step, I think that is where everyone or most of the companies fail. You need really calculate the benefits and explain to everyone internally, for example, how there is real benefits, that it was 10 hours before, not now it's hour. And then this is it. And if you can explain and show the benefits, you could start engage with more people, optimize process, invest money, etc., start spinning this flywheel. But this second point, that is a usual failure point, because you say, we did it previously. If you really calculate, because just my experience shows that just 1 of 10 automation projects are paying off. So it means that usually, if you need to say, we spend 10 hours, now it costs us such money, which is probably more than 10 hours equivalent.
Yeah, so this 1 to 10 ratio, is there anything the companies can do to improve the chances of success?
you need to take the highest volume
The
things.
volume. So you say that like mostly it fails because they didn't do the homework correctly and started
Yes.
something they shouldn't start, right?
Yeah, and they don't understand. The biggest, let's say, problem is that they can't explain actually how the companies are working. The actually BI part is missing, like, and it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago we started implementing self-service BIs, right? With many tools, and actually we see now that that homework was done poorly.
So they even don't know where is the volume, what are the processes.
Yeah, not exactly. So I heard a very nice story from Spotify. One of my colleagues worked in Spotify for 5 years and then returned in Latvia. And he said that in Spotify, everything is data-driven. I asked how, what it means. Very interesting. Tell me. And he said that they monitoring all the services in Spotify, and the usage of some feature increasing, they stop something else, something, and put resources on what's growing.
Yeah, so they emphasize the effort to the things where it matters, right?
Yes, because in our dynamic world, let's say, we need to catch these things that are growing or on the wave or something where is activity, right? And like in public sector, if you're asking me the number one, I'm not super expert in public sector. If you ask me one thing that should be really with a super benefit, it's how to this complex language that is usually used in all the services that you almost need to be lawyer to understand it. Yeah, how to translate it in a more simplified and tailor for different user groups. That we like in government currently there is discussions that no, we can't move fully digital because there are old ladies or who will. We need to keep the on-site and branches that they could come and do the stuff. But why not to create a very simplified, like we have a mobile phones, like for not advanced users,
even
right?
grandmothers have
Just
mobile
create
phones.
different same service in different way, like more simple with big buttons, with two buttons, not like for now the most of the public services are created in same way for all the user groups, for professionals, from normal users, for not advanced users.
So there's coming the CU regulation of accessibility first or something of that sort. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, so
Another regulation.
but you see, in this technology discussion, it's funny. We started because we are quite young country, and we starting with a moving from totally paper processes to systems in the beginning of 2000s or maybe a little bit earlier, and then document management, BI, process mining, process management, and now machine learning AI, and we're lagging. We're not.
But this is good point. Maybe you can encourage the organizations in this way. Like you also probably have heard this over decades that there's always some kind of excuse not to do things by saying we need to first make sure that that we have structured data. We need to make sure that first we have mapped the process. We need to make sure, and this just means it will not be structured. It will not be mapped, and it will not be automated. Nothing will happen. So how to get out of that trap?
Yeah, and I've been in the same trap myself. When I started as a project manager, I believed that if I found the best project management methodology, I will be very successful in project management. And I read a lot of books and methodologies, but in real life, I experienced that nothing of it is actually working, and you need to adapt and actually how you deal with people makes you successful or not successful. If you can agree with people, and people are very different, with envy, there's a lot of envy, frustration, anything else. So you need to find a model how to work with that. In this sense, we have these answers actually. All the management and quality gurus, they said it 30, 50 years ago, you could improve what you measure. If you can measure it, you can improve it. If you're not measuring it, forget about improvements, right? And many other things. So
it's like here in Latvia, recently had this initiative of reducing bureaucracy. So what means reducing bureaucracy? It's like reducing laziness, how you measure it.
Yeah, and that's again, and I think in this sense, if same for technology, it's lacking maybe. It's driven by technocratic approach, let's say, mostly. So we need to add this management and more philosophical approach to it. Because when I heard about this bureaucracy, first I started thinking, okay, what really means bureaucracy? Yeah. I found a definition that it's actually bureau is from French office, and kratos is from Greece power. So it's power office, and it means that there is a group of people who, with their own knowledge, saying, okay, we will not approve it, or okay, we will approve it. And that is how its process starts slowing down, because there is this pockets of knowledge, individual, and at some time they become very powerful that you can't understand what they are doing. They are so powerful. They're doing it themselves. And that is for me how the bureaucracy starting. And if you want to reduce bureaucracy, the worst thing to do is reduce people with knowledge. The best thing is what to do is create a seamless flow end to end. It means you need actually digitize this office and making the knowledge of their decisions available from others in the process.
Yeah, but there's still I picked it up primarily because you said you need to measure things. That's one remedy to not doing things. Otherwise, like you would have all sorts of excuses. But in that case, also it's kind of like first establish. Let's say reduce the amount of time for all of the applications from like by 20% or something. That might be measurable, but you cannot just measure laziness or bureaucracy in a sense.
In this sense, I would say you can. There is a nice book, How to Measure Everything.
Oh,
anything really, really good with
how to measure everything.
Anything, and there is a methodology provided how to measure it. Very interesting, and one of the most famous examples from the book is how to measure how many piano tuners are in Chicago. This Fermi problem. And I also, when I speak with students in different audiences, I give them same task and say, can you say how many piano tuners are in Latvia? And there you could get fantastic numbers, like starting from 4, ending with 200. When they say 4, I say, seriously? You know them all by name? Because even in a piano tuners register in Latvia, you will have some 20-ish. But the idea how to measure these piano tuners is you calculate number of households, probability that they have a piano in household, and how much one piano tuner normally could tune how much pianos during the year. And you come to roughly number for Latvia 50 to 60.
And do you know exactly?
No. There is probably, of course, we can't know it from the public sources, because there's some piano tuners who do it
yourself,
or something. But the idea.
No, I get it. Like you have a good way of looking at it. Methodology would be interesting to apply it to some more intangible things, but sounds good.
Yeah, and what I learned from the early days of machine learning is that it's all probabilistic. So that we need to understand from
human as well, like the human decision. As you know, maybe you also have read the Daniel Kahneman books, the economic Nobel Prize winner, right?
Yeah. Thinking fast and slow.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody is really rational. There's lots of experiments.
Yeah. I actually went very deep in this topic with reading his colleagues, Amos Tversky, and the most interesting of his work is about intuition, and in American psychology, he published an article in the 70s or 80s that there is 3 professions with high intuition. It's a nurses who feels the pain and death, firefighters who feel that something will bad happen on object, and chess players. And the definition how to build actual intuition is that you need to build expertise for at least 10 years in very stable environment. So that is why in businesses it's very hard to build intuition, because environment is not stable. But if you have this stable environment, you start feeling a lot of things. And it's actually very going together with, if you talk about big AI, what Jan LeCun is saying. He says that the humans are learning with eyes, actually, with what we are seeing. That is how we learn everything. And there's a lot of information we getting into brains through the seeing,
which we also do not consciously explain.
Yes, and some things we just know that it is, but we can't consciously explain.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think probably if somebody would look deeper, at least it seems to me that there might be more of these professions that have this intuition. Because I kind of think that this, as you say, stable environment, complex environment, too complicated to do all of the decisions with slow thinking, right? Seems that there might be more, but sounds great.
Yeah, you could. It's probably potentially it could be in any profession, but you need this stable environment. So it's rare that in whole profession there's everywhere stable environment. Probably in working in museums or something, there's also could be a good intuition.
We went naturally to the leadership part of our discussion. Do you have any kind of leadership mistakes you made early on, which you remember that you would not do them nowadays, and you maybe laugh at them? Or do you have something?
Yeah, I'm quite. I define myself very shy person, and I would not name myself as a leader, let's say. But of course, the biggest mistakes are related to underestimating the people and underestimating
Not
importance.
overestimating.
Of course, overestimating also, but it's maybe a good thing to do. But underestimation of importance of people relations and all these things. That's probably the biggest. I remember myself that somewhere in 2028 or 27 this years, I read an article in Harvard Business Review about top most successful people in American business and how they get, what are their most important factors. And I found out that actually the most important factor was their people connections during they built during the college and university.
Wow.
That not initial money, not anything else, but connections they build.
But that's why also be a good opportunity to be in Ivy League universities or high network situations. Yeah. So, and you mentioned you also read initially lots of books about project management. Did it help you?
So it helped me understand different techniques and history and several everything else, but in actual work, not much really, because you never will read. For example, I didn't find any book about project management where they write like, look at the stakeholders, and if they are more angry, make a good connection with them, etc. But that is what you need to do in real projects.
Yeah, this human aspect of all of this.
Maybe maximum what you will find that developers will do more for pizza than for pay rise or something else.
Oh.
That you will get in the book.
What routines and habits have you developed for managing the teams, your tasks daily, or what's something that could be useful for others as well?
Yeah, so constantly I'm looking for different methods and ideas how things could be managed. And one of the things I found that you need to be a good storyteller, and also should show a vision. So something you always, even if it's smaller thing, it should look very natural, but you need to give a purpose why we are doing this. Because without a purpose, no one is wanting to do anything, right? Why we need to do that? It's another shit to do, right? But if you give this sense of purpose, that it's very important. Of course, not going into when everything is important, nothing is important. Finding this way how to explain importance and the purpose of the things, and it usually requires this visionary capability that you can see like more than others and show this, and then people start believing you.
Okay, how this practically looks like in your teams?
So if you, for example, when we started this machine teaching part, I just get into this Microsoft thing, I like believe it in it, and sold it to the team. I said it looks huge. It looks very interesting. So you need to be passionate about it. And same, especially this requires, especially when we talk about community. Community could be run only by madmen or madwomen, someone who is absolutely mad about it, who that you could feel that it's important for this person. And when you feel that everything happening there is important, really important for this person, because in our life now there's so much fake things, and you're quite
You just
good recognizing.
read in the book that you need to have a community, then let's manufacture a community, right? It doesn't work like that.
So you can't build the community by the book. You can build community only by doing, because you really, when you start, you need a strong belief. Because when I started this Power BI community, that analysis community, 3-4 persons coming to the meetup, 4-5 persons maybe, and until you grow to when 100 persons are coming to the meetup, it takes quite a bit of time. So you need to have so much motivation, self-motivation for it, so that everyone sees, okay,
He's a
he
madman.
believes it's important for him.
So this kind of overlaps then basically what you do professionally in the company to feed the vision, and also it overlaps with the community building, right?
Yeah, it overlaps, and I think I developed some things they called causality map, let's say, and in this causality map I discovered that, or built that idea that if you really like what you do professionally, the way how to understand that you like it, that you will spend free time for learning. If you're just learning during the working time, you're not liking your job. If you like what you do, you will spend your free time for learning some development activities, attending meetups, organizing meetups. I remember that in a high year, it required 10 hours per week to run the meetup, which is quite a lot of time. Yeah. So it means it's a Saturday a little bit Sunday, some evenings.
So do you have a couple of these tools? You have like the madman, the vision. Is there anything else you apply to motivate people to go forward?
Giving them purpose of their career. So that's also I find out quite early in my career, and in every organization I'm saying that here you are here because we as this company or community or team, we are through the cooperation, development, in participation in the project, we build your market value. So actually, if you feel that you are growing here, if you're building your market value, then that's good thing to do.
So
that's the right thing to do.
Opportunity for growth, right? For each team member, purpose, vision, the madman effect, but any tricks, ways you have developed over years that maybe even things that don't work that people think that work for achieving results in either in team or in community?
Leading by example, of course, working the best, even if you are in project and you see there were, I remember in one of my previous jobs there were projects when there were just idea about self-service portal, etc. And I spent weekend and build a prototype.
Yourself?
Myself. No, I was not developer, but I built it myself. So, and it changes everything.
Yeah, it's I think this leading by example is also a big thing. Like people can feel this as well.
Yeah, that is feeling of truth, of true aspiration.
Yeah, it's also like about the communities. So if somebody is manufacturing community, bringing we talked off camera about some kind of community with some kind of shrimp snacks or something.
Yeah, so it's again how true it is, right? And
yeah.
if it's normal communities, modest and like natural, it's without all the marketing, let's say.
Yeah, you can feel it's. I think it's also we discussed internally with my team, and that was the philosophy of Apple when it grew fast, when it was very important. Now it's also important, but there was time. Steve Jobs, Johnny Ive, they had this internal value that they wanted to add, that anyone who uses Apple products feels that somebody cares about you, basically. So this care aspect, right? It's something that people feel. You definitely can see if somebody don't care about you when they ship something to you, right?
Yeah, I call it this important that for these leaders, they think they are doing or product they are releasing, service they are doing, that it's important for them personally, and they want to improve it in a way. Then, and it's important. You know, one of the things I learned very early is that how the leaders' words works. What is the power of words? And sometimes there's there are meetings. On the meetings, leaders are saying our plans are that and slides and everything, and no one is doing that. And another side, there were cases that when someone did something and manager saying, why you did it? But you told me. When I told you, remember in the lift, you told me that it probably is important. And I also learned that you need to be careful of everything you are saying, because
I just talk about some ideas, and then
yeah,
it generates the next things.
and then one nice example I remember from Latvian Post, when I had a conversation with them, and they say, we have a very nice process, very good one. And I imagine what kind of process it is. It's very desired internally, and what it's a design of new post
Stamps.
stamps. Yeah, and I imagine Latvian bank is similar. The design of new
Yeah.
coins is also a very good process.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's great talking about all of these business cases, your personal experience. Towards the end, we could do some more short, fun questions. So I think one of the things maybe you could recall is, do you have any funny examples of communication lab projects where something went wrong?
Oh yeah, yeah. There were a couple. Let's say always there's some funny stuff. One of them we did for German pipe producer Uponor, and we did a boiler system prediction of the configuration of the boiler system. And we even started to delivering some physical
Okay.
solution with sensors, etc. And there's something on the one boiler room happened. Maybe it was not really our fault, but
What happened?
there's some fire or something. Some
So you'd burn down the boiler
no,
room?
no, 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 but some small minor accident.
Okay. So you had a fire once. That's interesting. Anything else?
We did a project where with a computer vision, and also it's recognizes, but maybe we start seeing something that actually was not in the picture.
Oh, like ghost in the background.
Yeah. So when you overtrain models, etc.
Yeah,
So
overfit.
yes,
There is these still. Usually it happens actually when some non AI people just take GitHub model, run some scripts, don't understand what they do, and then funny things start to appear in the image classifiers and so on. If you could host a dream panel, I know we have been on stages a couple of times, and there could be 3 people you would like to put in the panel, maybe in terms of AI or some business or others, like what these 3 people could be. They could be fictional, real life.
yeah. I think like if it's AI, then most
Yep.
probably AI, and it's very important to understand the essence of the thing. I would invite from the historical persons Aristotle,
Whoa.
Isaac Newton, because Aristotle, because
Hmm.
I think he's really on the establishing ethics as a discipline. Isaac Newton, because he, for me, is the greatest of all time scientists, and Peter Drucker.
What's Peter Drucker?
Peter Drucker is a like founder of the management sciences.
Oh, that's interesting. I will check him out. If you would need to explain to a 5-year-old what you do, how you explain?
I trying it to do time to time, and I usually saying that I'm solving problems.
Solving problems.
Solving problems.
Have you ever Googled or searched in ChatGPT some term during the meeting and then pretended that you know this?
No, I did the first part, but not altogether.
Should the reply all button in email be deleted?
It should be modified at least. Maybe not reply to all, but reply to who is in the tool, and then something like that.
If you could download any skill, the Matrix style to your brain, which one you pick?
Playing piano.
Oh, that's nice. Do you play something?
A little bit, but I imagine.
You need to download more.
Yes.
What's the one trend of innovation that still makes you excited even after all of these years?
All this robotics. I think it's going in right direction. I stopped dreaming about self-driving cars, so I'm tired.
But have you tried? I've been in America.
No. So my dream is about self-driving cars, and I remember Elon said, Musk, that it will be in 2025 or so.
Yeah, it's always
And I waited for it, collected some money, put some money aside, and my dream was that I'm going to the client on the Zirnovo Street with my self-driving car. It stops. I go out and put in the taxi mode, and while I'm on the meeting, it's collecting money, and then I call it brings myself.
We're not there yet, but if you follow news, and I was myself, Atom in San Francisco, it's full of thousands of these Waymo self-driving cars and also a Tesla FSD, and it's literally I tried myself. Many people tried it. Like you just put the address, it drives like fast, 50 kilometers per hour. It works perfectly. Not any moment had been like scared. Something goes wrong. Nobody's sitting at the wheel. So I think it's already here. It's just. As you know, Europe prohibits use of this, even though each month new city in America have thousands of cars. So, but we'll get there, right?
That's exciting, but I'm a little bit tired waiting for that. But
tired waiting, I agree.
Yeah, but
like it's one of those cases where somebody overpromises things and then it comes later. But still, we are there, so it's great. I also wait for robots. On the same note, is AI innovation moving too fast or too slow?
It's pushed too fast right now. It's moving maybe itself. It's not fast, but now the big tech is pushing it too fast.
Okay, data privacy or profit?
There should be a profit from data privacy.
But in Europe, the data privacy
data privacy
is too much.
For example, in Copilot, in Microsoft Copilot, if you ask, compare these two CVs, which is better, you will get answer. We can't do it because of regulations.
I hate
we can't decide about people.
That's like You should try. You should try this on VPN on America. Let's see if that works. But yeah, this is annoying. Metrics. We talked about metrics. Do they guide or mislead?
Right metrics guide, and wrong metrics mislead. And I think, and I tell everyone when we talk about metrics, that the biggest actually value is knowing the real value of things. If you know the real value of things, you are most successful person in the industry. Imagine the used cars industry. If you know the real value of the things, or real value of developers, etc., etc. So if the metrics are right and calculated from the right good data, they guide you. And if not, of course, they
Okay.
can mislead you.
Which classic career advice was officially canceled 2025?
Oh, this probably, yeah, it's hard, but one definite, and it was cancelled, I think, a couple of years before, that you will work in one career for whole life.
Yeah, exactly. That's very good. Like also, I think professions. Like if you
Yeah, that you
choose,
work in one profession for whole life.
yeah, get profession, and then it's over. So, what buzzword do you secretly wish would be banished from all meetings?
If we talk about technical, probably it's blockchain. But AI
Still,
AI also in queue.
still blockchain. Oh man, Monday 9 a.m. meetings, cruel or fantastic?
Fantastic. So I'm an early bird, so I'm waking up. Meeting 7 a.m. on Monday. That's just perfect.
Not for everybody, but great. It's been great conversation. I liked it very much. I enjoyed myself. Hopefully the listeners as well. Decision makers, the practical use cases, where people can find you.
A usual place, LinkedIn.
Okay, LinkedIn, Aldis Ērglis.
Aldis Ērglis, yeah, that's
Emerging
by
Latvia.
name. By name, yes, it's easy to find. Also, if you Google, you also find a lot of information about me. Riga Power BI.
Riga Power BI. So subscribe. Go to the events where somebody cares.
On meetup.com, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining another episode of AI Ranch. As a gratitude of our work, subscribe, like, and share, and see you in the next one.